Shadows of Sleep, Echoes of the Faceless. Dr. Olivia Warren had always prided herself on her ability to remain calm in the face of her patients' darkest fears. As a seasoned psychologist, she had guided countless individuals through their personal horrors, peeling back the layers of trauma and fear that haunted their subconscious. But nothing could have prepared her for what was happening now. It began with just one patient, a man named Greg Parker. A rugged construction worker in his mid-30s, Greg wasn't the type to be rattled easily, yet he had come to Olivia with a fear he couldn't shake. For weeks he had been tormented by a recurring nightmare, always the same. He was running through an endless, desolate landscape, chased by a faceless figure that never spoke, only stalked him with silent, deadly intent. No matter how fast he ran, the figure always closed the distance until he would wake up just as it reached him. "I can't see its face," Greg had told her, his voice trembling, "but I know it's there. It's like it's watching me, waiting for the right moment, and every time I get a little slower, I don't think I'll wake up the next time." Olivia reassured him that dreams, even nightmares, were the mind's way of processing stress and fear, but something about the way Greg described it, so vivid, so detailed, made her uneasy. A week later, Greg was dead. He had died in his sleep, his heart simply stopping in the middle of the night. No signs of foul play, no evidence of a struggle, just a perfectly healthy man who went to bed and never woke up. Olivia grieved for Greg, but chalked it up to a tragic coincidence until her next patient, a young woman named Claire, described the exact same nightmare. "I'm running, but it's like the ground keeps stretching out in front of me, pulling me back," Claire explained. "I can feel it behind me, this faceless thing. I know it's going to catch me one day." Olivia's blood ran cold. She wanted to dismiss it, to say it was just another bizarre coincidence. But when her third patient in the same month, a retiree named Mrs. Henderson, described the same dream, she couldn't ignore this unsettling pattern. All three had described the same faceless figure, the same endless chase, and the same rising sense of dread that their time was running out. As the nightmares intensified, so did the deaths. Claire was found lifeless in her apartment, just like Greg, with no explanation for her death. Then Mrs. Henderson passed, leaving Olivia drowning in a sea of questions and terror. The patients had no connection to each other, no shared experiences or trauma. The only link was the nightmare, and now they were all dead. Desperate for answers, Olivia dove into the case with a fervour that bordered on obsession. She combed through their histories, searching for any clue, any shred of evidence that might explain the phenomenon. But there was nothing except the recurring nightmare of the faceless stalker. Her sleep became restless, her mind racing with every unsolved thread, and then one night Olivia had the dream. In it, she stood alone in a bleak, featureless plain, the sky a dull grey, the horizon stretching into infinity. The silence was suffocating, broken only by the distant sound of footsteps behind her. She didn't need to turn around to know who or what was there. The faceless figure had come for her, just as it had come for her patients. She ran, her heart pounding in her chest, but the faster she ran, the slower she seemed to move. The ground stretched out before her, pulling her back no matter how hard she tried to escape. The figure was closing in, and she could feel its presence like a cold hand gripping her spine. Olivia woke with a gasp, her body drenched in sweat. She had never experienced such vivid terror before, and now she understood the fear her patients had felt. This wasn't just a nightmare, it was something else, something far darker and more dangerous, and now it had come for her. Frantically, Olivia sought answers, consulting with colleagues, researching ancient myths and folklore, anything that might explain the phenomenon. What she discovered was a chilling legend, a creature known in various cultures as the Dream Stalker, a malevolent entity that preyed on those who were vulnerable in their sleep, hunting them in their dreams and claiming their souls when they could no longer run. The entity, it seemed, thrived on fear. The more frightened its victims became, the closer it would get, and once it caught them in the dream, it would take them in real life. As nights passed, Olivia's nightmares grew more intense, the faceless figure always a step closer. She was running out of time, just as her patients had, but she wasn't about to go down without a fight. Drawing on everything she knew about the mind, Olivia devised a plan. If the Dream Stalker fed on fear, she would have to confront it without terror. She would face the entity head-on, forcing herself to remain calm, to break the cycle of fear it relied upon. On the final night, Olivia deliberately put herself into a deep sleep, preparing for the inevitable confrontation. The dream unfolded as it always did, the endless plain, the faceless figure in the distance, the footsteps drawing nearer. But this time, she didn't run. She turned to face it, her heart steady, her mind clear. The figure paused, as if surprised by her defiance. For the first time, Olivia saw something beneath the formless darkness, a flicker of hesitation, perhaps even fear of its own. "I'm not afraid of you," Olivia said, her voice steady. The figure stopped, its faceless form wavering, as if unsure of how to proceed. And then, as if her words had broken some invisible barrier, the figure began to dissolve, its dark shape dissipating into the grey sky like smoke. The dreamscape around her shimmered and faded, and Olivia woke up, her breath coming in slow, steady waves. The Dream Stalker was gone. She had broken its hold, faced it without fear, and in doing so had saved herself. But as she sat in the quiet darkness of her bedroom, Olivia couldn't shake the feeling that the entity hadn't truly been destroyed. It was still out there, watching, waiting, searching for its next victim, and Olivia knew that one day it would return. If you enjoyed unravelling the deadly mystery of the Dream Stalker, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe for more spine-chilling tales of terror and suspense. Turn on the notification bell so you'll never miss a story that creeps into your nightmares. Stay safe and beware of what lurks in your dreams. Also, please join us on the 31st of October for our special Halloween story, The Legend of Hollow's End.